I walked into my boss's office thinking it was a promotion meeting. Instead, he told me to train my replacement. This is the story of how I destroyed his career, got him fired, and watched his entire world collapse. And he never saw it coming.
My name is David. I'm 32 years old. 5 years ago, I joined Apex Solutions as a junior project manager. I loved that job, worked 60-hour weeks, brought in 3 major clients worth over $2 million, won Employee of the Year twice. I thought I was building a career, a future. My boss, Richard, was the VP of Operations. 48 years old, always wore expensive suits, drove a BMW, loved reminding everyone how important he was. For 3 years, he praised my work, called me his star player, said I had a bright future with the company. I believed every word. Last November, Richard called me into his office, said he had big news. I walked in thinking promotion, maybe senior project manager, maybe even a raise. He had me sit down, smiled that fake corporate smile. "David, I need you to take on a special project. We're bringing in someone new, and I need you to train them on everything you do." I asked the obvious question. Train them on what exactly? As my assistant? He didn't even have the decency to look uncomfortable. "No, David, they'll be taking over your role. We're restructuring. I need you to document everything you do, every client contact, every process. You have 6 weeks." Taking over my role. I was being fired, and he wanted me to train my replacement. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. 5 years, $2 million in revenue, Employee of the Year, twice. "Why?" I managed to ask. "Did I do something wrong?" He waved his hand dismissively. "Nothing personal, David. Budget cuts. We're bringing in someone at a lower salary point. You understand how business works." Lower salary. They were replacing me with someone cheaper, after everything I'd built. The next Monday, Richard introduced me to Jessica, 26 years old. Fresh MBA, eager smile. She had no idea what was really happening. "David's going to show you the ropes," Richard said cheerfully. "He's our best. You'll learn from the master." The master who was being thrown away like garbage. For 6 weeks, I trained Jessica, showed her every client relationship I'd built, every process I developed, every shortcut I discovered through years of experience. She was nice, apologetic even. "I didn't know they were letting you go," she whispered one day. "This feels wrong." It was wrong, but she needed a job. I understood. My anger wasn't at her. But Richard made it worse. Every chance he got, he'd walk by my desk. "Making sure you're documenting everything, David. Jessica needs to know it all." In meetings, he'd say things like, "David's on his way out, so Jessica will be handling that going forward." He was humiliating me, publicly, and he enjoyed it. Week 4, I was sitting in my car in the parking garage after work, just sitting there. Couldn't bring myself to drive home yet. I'd given 5 years to this company, missed my daughter's birthday parties, worked weekends, sacrificed everything. And that's when something shifted. The sadness turned to something else. Anger. Cold, calculating anger. I started paying attention, really paying attention. Not to Jessica's training, to Richard. His patterns, his mistakes, his secrets. See, when you work somewhere for 5 years, you notice things. And when you're training someone, you have access to everything. Under the guise of documenting processes for Jessica, I started pulling reports, financial records, email trails, meeting notes, and I found something interesting. Richard had been approving vendor contracts,
lots of them. One vendor in particular, Summit Consulting, was getting monthly payments of $15,000 for operational consulting services. I'd never heard of Summit Consulting, never seen any deliverables, never saw anyone from this company in our office. So I did what any good project manager would do. I researched. Summit Consulting was registered to Richard's wife. Richard had been funneling company money to his own pocket, $15,000 a month for 18 months. That's $270,000 in fraud. I spent my last 2 weeks as an employee documenting everything. Invoice copies, email approvals, wire transfer records, bank statements I found in archived financial folders. I created a 47-page report with exhibits, timeline, evidence, paper trail, everything a forensic accountant would need. And I kept my mouth shut, smiled, trained Jessica, counted down the days.
My last day came. Richard called me into his office one final time. He handed me a severance envelope, 2 weeks' pay, after 5 years. Nothing personal, David, just business. Good luck out there. I shook his hand, smiled. Thank you for the opportunity, Richard. I learned a lot here. I had learned a lot, just not what he thought. I walked out of that building, got in my car, drove home. And that evening, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop and my 47-page report. I composed an email to the CEO of Apex Solutions, CC, the CFO, the head of HR, the board of directors. Subject line: Evidence of embezzlement, VP Operations. I attached every document, every invoice, every email, the entire paper trail showing Richard had stolen $270,000 from the company, and I hit send. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't know if they'd believe me. Didn't know if they'd investigate. Maybe they'd bury it, protect their VP. But at 6:47 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. It was the CEO.
David, this is Marcus Chen. We need to talk. Can you come to the office today? I went. Walked into a conference room with the CEO, CFO, head of HR, and 2 lawyers I'd never seen before. They had my report spread across the table, every page, every exhibit. We verified everything you sent, the CEO said. We're terminating Richard immediately. The lawyers are filing criminal charges. They walked Richard out that morning. I wasn't there to see it, but Jessica called me. She was crying. Security just escorted him out. They took his badge, his laptop, everything. What happened? I told her I'd explain later, but what I didn't tell her was that I'd requested the security footage. Richard walking through that office, box in hands, everyone staring, the same walk he'd forced dozens of people to make, the same humiliation. The company offered me my job back, with a raise, Richard's position, actually, VP of Operations. I turned it down. By then, I'd already accepted a position at their biggest competitor. Better title, better salary, and I brought 3 of Apex's major clients with me. The clients I'd built relationships with for 5 years. They followed me, not the company, me.
Richard was charged with embezzlement and fraud. The trial took 8 months. I testified, walked the jury through every document, every transfer, every lie. He was found guilty, sentenced to 4 years in federal prison, ordered to pay back every penny plus penalties. His wife filed for divorce 2 months into his sentence. The BMW was repossessed. The house went into foreclosure. Everything he'd built, or stolen, was gone. Jessica stayed at Apex for 6 months before reaching out to me. She felt terrible, said she had no idea about the fraud, asked if I hated her. I didn't. She was just a person trying to get ahead. Not her fault Richard was a criminal.
I actually helped her get a job at my new company. She's doing great. We joke about it now. Here's what I learned. When someone humiliates you, when they think you're powerless, they get careless. Richard thought I was just a fired employee, someone to discard. He didn't think I was a threat. That was his mistake. Document everything. Keep records. Build your case. And when the time is right, act decisively. Justice doesn't always happen immediately, but when you have the truth on your side and you're patient enough to prove it, it happens. Today, I'm VP of Client Relations at a company that values loyalty. I make twice what I made at Apex. My team respects me because I earned it. Richard gets out of prison in 2 years. He'll be 52 years old with a felony record. No career, no reputation, no future in this industry. And every night, I sleep peacefully, knowing I didn't just get revenge, I got justice. So here's my question for you. Have you ever been forced to train your replacement or been betrayed by someone you trusted at work? Drop your story in the comments below. And if you know someone going through workplace betrayal right now, share this video. Sometimes people need to know that karma is real and that patience and evidence are more powerful than anger. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next story.